Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Tuesday, September 23rd. This will be our chart lesson for today, and it's really so far it's just been a trading range day. I see two tiers in this range with kind of the midline, which the midline is actually the low of yesterday. I believe that's the low of yesterday. That should be. Yeah, you can see that was the low of yesterday. That's kind of played the midline today, and we just been back and forth on both sides of that today for the most part so far. Um, what's been the only thing that I can find that might be a bigger pattern is this right here. And there's, it looks like it's a possibility, but I wouldn't be willing to bet off of it yet. It needs a little bit more price action to really confirm it. But the market just can't get any traction in any one direction. We just meander one way and then meander the other. Although really, if you look at it since the open, the bias has been down. So other than that, there's not much else you can find here outside this trading range and this possible two-tiered um, down channel. But we'll just have to see as the day goes. But I'm not hanging around to see any more of it. Um, Really, to make a lot of these trades, you either had to just be patient and wait on the traps, or you had to enter somewhat aggressively. There's just no other way to look at it. And again, I'm not even convinced that this upper channel, this two-tiered downward trending channel, is correct here. We'll just have to see how it plays out. But so far, the range, we bounced off the bottom, we went to the highs. We moved from the highs back to the bottom, and we're bouncing off the lows and working our way. We've worked our way back to the midpoint. Let's see if, we'll have to see if we get through and go any higher. Um, or if maybe this trend line here is going to come back into play and turn prices and head lower again. We'll just have to see what happens. But again, you either had to be a little bit aggressive, or you had to just sit and wait and be patient and wait on the possible traps that were there. This is another one that you might have drawn green, but I just think there's so many overlapping bars and dojis in there that you have to ignore that setup right there. But let me show you, if you got here early, there were some nice trades early on, and then from then on, it's been a little bit iffy and quiet. So this was a nice little trend right here. If you played this trend, you did pretty well. Um, it looks like also there's a larger two-tiered, but we've broken that, but we never have made a retest. So will we go higher and make a new high for the day? That's possible, but this just looks too much like a range day. Um, but the possibility that maybe all we do is just bounce around in here. And again, really since the open, the bias has been down. So will we get back up here? I don't know. We'll just have to follow the price action and see what's going on. I've got a shorter term trend line here with a break. Um, can we get a retest of that high with a new high, or is there maybe another little? A lot of times it's like this. You got this. There's no denying this little channel, this shorter term one, but then there's the other one going up here, and there's no denying it either. So maybe there's a bigger one here to the upside, or maybe that's all we're going to get. We can't get past that midpoint. We're headed back to the lows again. We'll just have to see how it plays out. But right now, it's definitely a range type day with a downward bias. Nothing else you can say about it. So let's talk about the trades, and then this one's going to be probably rather quick today, and then we're going to move on. So, but when I came in this morning, uh, prices were kind of chopping around. There's a little fail. Notice the double bottom there. Um, you had your little channel working down. You had your break, two legs, two measured legs to a new low, and then it bounced. It's not the most beautiful setup bar, but notice those two measured legs down, a little failed break lower. There's a possible little trend line working right across there. So it's different reasons to try to ride that back to at least the EMA and maybe catch a low. And it went right on through. Then it pulls back, and you get a second entry long here, and that's kind of a two-legged pull back right there. Um, but this is definitely a trading range, and it bounces right at those closings there again, goes higher. Then you get a failed second entry short. Notice that new low, pull back, first entry short, pull back. There's a second entry short. It's almost like similar to a breakout pullback long as well. And then you do get a little two-legged correction here with a reversal bar off those highs. Definitely a breakout pullback long there. And you could treat this like a new low as well. So it could be like a failed second entry short as well. And then this is a little two-legged pullback. It's the first break of this channel, so you figure it's going to push higher. I'm figuring we're going to test that, which is eventually what we do, but we get another correction back to this other trend line. And this one I drew in green. There's a couple of moves down here, but there's no break of this little channel. So if you waited on that, you missed it. It's a first entry on this chart. It's probably a third entry on a smaller chart, but it's that first time that we've, that's a pretty good move, and that's the first pullback to the EMA. Generally, you're going to get another bounce, and we got that. Made the new high off of this channel. That's a break and two kind of measured legs up to a new high, and then it sells off. This is just a first entry short after a big move down, but notice the little double top right there. It's a bounce right off that trend line. Again, if you weren't somewhat aggressive today, you just didn't find a lot of trade. So I'm showing them it's a first entry, but there's reasons, and it's a breakout pullback short. There's reasons to take this trade, but it is a little aggressive. So, and then of course we start bouncing off those lows again. No reason to go long there, but there's a little bit. There's a new low right here, first entry short pullback. That's the second entry short. It's the first break of this channel, so you would expect prices to try to test that low again. It bounces. That's a second entry short counting off that high. It's not a very good signal bar, and it's right into that support, so I don't think you can go short there. But then when you get the failed second entry long right there, just go short right there. You figure it's probably heading down here. It's an easy scalp, but it bounces. And it gets back above this line, pulls back, tests it again, and it's headed higher again. So, but you did have your little channel working down here, a break and two legs down, and a bounce, a higher bounce. And these are not perfect signal bars, but this one's close enough that it could have closed on its high. So when it broke higher right there, try to get in with a limit order. Get in as close to the low as you can, or and reduce your exposure as much as you can. Make it as low risk as possible. Took it a minute, but it really took off there. And then guess what? We turned down again right at these highs right across here. Pulls back. You get a second entry short, but look at all that overlap. This really should be. You just can't risk that trade right there. It would have worked, but it's too risky. Next time it won't. It works this time, and you watch it. So next time you take it, and it doesn't work. But then you get the failed second entry long there. It's a breakout pullback short. Notice how we got below that, broke up. So this was the better place to enter, and this was a nice move down. You could have ridden this if you had any runners, you could have caught them. Again, it pulls back right here, and it gives you another chance to enter off that trend line. And you got to figure that prices are going to come down to here, but make sure you get in with enough room to scalp out before you get to this low right here where those closes were. So again, that's a little risky, but it's a breakout pullback short from this level right here as well. There's some different reasons to take that trade. So, but it's a little bit risky. So, and then you get the bounce right here. I don't like going long right there on the first entry, but it pulls back, it traps people. It's coming off those lows. You got that trap. You figure you're going to get two legs up. Again, I went back and forth about whether or not to make this one green, but I didn't because it is a second entry, and you get that little trap and it goes higher. If it would have went out all on the same bar, I would have liked it better, but still takes off pretty easy. And you figure you're headed to here, maybe to here, and of course you only get to here, but you're out by that time. So we'll see if we get a little higher low this time and go higher again, and maybe there's something else going on here, but it looks like we're just going to keep working lower today. Like I said, we've been, you gotta you got to respect this trading range right here, but at the same time, the price is just somewhat down. So just be alert to that, at least for now. It could change any minute. We could bounce off these lows again and go higher, but for now, the bias continues to be down. We're still making higher lows. And there is some FOMC speaker or something today, but that's medium. I mean, they could always say something that could spook the market, but I wouldn't be too. At this point, it's not something I'm going to be too concerned about. You might wait a few minutes before you take a trade, just in case something crazy comes out and the market gets volatile for a little bit. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. That's what I saw today. I've had enough. It's just boring, meandering, and I'm close enough to my target where I'm just going to call it a day. So I hope you had a good trading day. We'll be back to do it again tomorrow. But this is Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.